Hello, Internet, and welcome to Volume 5 of Wonderworld. We are excited to be bringing you our finale of this critically acclaimed show. By critics, I mean all of us.
They say that you are
Possibly.
your own harshest critic.
We are. If you could only know the things that they say to me, just so mean all the time.
We're horrible to him. Everyone send love to Sean because we are the worst.
But yeah, so we are once again playing the Cypher system here today in our superhero themed RPG. If you are tuning in for the first time, not having seen an episode of this prior, spoilers for the episodes that you've missed. Without being said, and I encourage you to go back and watch the previous 4 episodes of this. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. We may pick this up again in the future, the same kind of world and the same system and stuff. But for now, we're going to be wrapping this nice little story arc here in a bow, hopefully, and moving on to other things. That being said, we have this Saturday, of course, we have another episode of Survivors Complex. On Monday, we have our next session of Wild Space. And then following that, so 2 weeks from today, or from tonight, we will have our very first session of Apocrypha, the Apocalypse World style or system game that I'm going to be running along with many of these faces. All of these faces are going to be in that game, plus a couple more. So please come out and watch that. We're getting everything ready. We'll do more hype and kind of explain it a bit more as we go. But we did our session 0 about a week and a half ago, or a week ago at this point. So if you missed that and you're interested in what Apocalypse World is, how the system works, and want to kind of get an idea of the characters we're going for, go watch that on YouTube. It was a lot of fun doing it. Don't do enough session 0s for campaigns, so I really enjoyed it. I think they all did too. Otherwise, we are still doing our dice giveaway. We have a couple more days left on that. We have a little less than a week to get in on the second part of our dice giveaway. So go over to our Twitter page. Make sure you're following us on all 3 platforms, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and like the pinned tweet, and you will enter in the giveaway. We'll be giving away dice next Monday. So check that out, and look forward to the announcement on Wild Space. We have one more giveaway that we're doing once we hit our YouTube goal. We're a little bit away on YouTube. I think we are kind of steadily creeping up there, but it's going to take another push by this awesome group of people that like watching us play. So go out there and force your friends to like our YouTube page, so we can give you some more dice. But yeah, I think that's it.
Lynn's Day is tomorrow, if you didn't already say that.
I did not already say that. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, Lynn's Day is tomorrow. We will be having our 3rd installment, I think, at this point, of 4th installment. I think one got canceled, so I think I don't remember. We'll be having an installment of Lindsay Plays Dragon Age Inquisition. So come watch that. It's been a lot of fun. I love that game. As you can see by the Dragon Age dragon that I have on my computer here. Big fan. So anyway, that is it. I think we can go ahead and jump in. I'm done stalling for starting the beginning of the end of this. So without further ado, we will go ahead and begin our final volume of Wonderworld. The last time that we met, your group had journeyed into the jungles of Madagascar after an attack on a wonder complex or a wonder base in the deserts of northern Africa or Egypt. Wonder had gone on the offensive to try to determine the location and the plans of the cryptic organization, Frost. You journey deep into this region, knowing that there had been some strange goings on in the area that you had received through a dossier given to you by your superiors. Upon arriving there, you learned that there were a number of creatures in this region that seemed to be experimented on. You came across a strange barrier, a sonic force field outside or at the outskirts of this region. As you made your way inside, you were with your Wonder-provided commando unit, soldiers 60 through 75, along with you. You were promptly attacked by a creature, seemed to be a chimera of sorts, stitched together, genetically and biologically altered entity that attacked you on sight and killed off many of the commandos that were escorting you. You then made your way pushing forward to where the headquarters or the hideout of this group was. You pushed your way inside, meeting Mr. Y and Mrs. X, the geneticists that ran this facility. You fought a strange creature of their construction. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Almost, some of you being almost murdered in the process by this fleshy abomination. You defeated it, and Accelerando, using his super speed, was able to catch the geneticists before they escaped. You retrieved the information that you were seeking, learning the location of the Frost base within the Kuiper Belt. And from there, you return back to the Wonder complex, the Wonder facility, where many of the other units that had survived some of these attacks by Frost loaded up into the Helix jets that had been provided by Ein, and you launched into the upper atmosphere and out into the dark reaches of space, heading towards your destination of this Frost facility. And that's where we pick up here. You've been riding at length now through this in these kind of cramped confines of these Helix jets that have been provided. There are cots and bunks for like 4 people to stay in at a time, except for Machina. You kind of just have to stay out in the cargo hold area. It's not really meant for comfortable travel, but as soldiers, as you're kind of traveling at this point, as a sort of a military force, you're making use the best you can of these accommodations. Any interactions between everybody as you guys are traveling for the next, I'd say about a week at this point. So without knowing all the details of space travel and the distances and times and speeds and stuff, super fast through space. I defer to our space expert Ryan on that later. So any interactions or anything you guys are doing during this time?
But I could run faster than this ship, except I can't breathe in space, so I'm gonna stay in the ship.
You also can't run in space.
You don't know that.
You want to try?
Not particularly.
What, you haven't figured out how to run faster than light yet, my friend?
I just meant
I'm
that
working
there was
on that, but yeah, it's what would my feet push off of it?
no
I'd be like
no space pavement.
yeah, I'd be one of those dogs when you pick them up and they're moving and like, huh, what? How am I moving? But not, and just.
No, you could probably jump off the ship and then go, but
there's a little bit of a kind of turbulence at that point. It's kind of of the ship. it's happened a couple times as you've been approaching the outer reaches of the asteroid belt. Bits of debris kind of hovering towards the edges of this of the Kuiper belt, and it stabilizes after a moment.
I didn't think there was turbulence in space.
Have you ever been to space?
No. But I don't know, I ain't no space expert.
Well, I mean, we are hurtling towards an asteroid belt at 2,300 miles a second, so we're gonna hit something.
Probability suggests, with proximity to the asteroid belt, that the ship's hull is currently being hit by small asteroids.
It's good that our shields are perfectly okay with that. Plus, I mean, we're in a big honking metal box, so
We're sure they don't have any creepy space aliens they're gonna send out, and we have
Oh,
to fight
they're-
them in space.
I'm
There's-
almost positive they
there's-
have
that's
creepy
gonna
space
happen.
aliens. Yeah.
So that whole being able to run in space thing, you might want to work on it.
I'm just having like slight flashbacks to like the clones.
Yeah.
There's a click and a voice kind of tinny and mechanical comes over the comms. Says, everyone take their seats, please. We have an update. Looks like we'll be arriving in 8 clicks.
Oh, is that a click, or do they mean...
Yes, it's gonna make that sound 8 times, and then we'll be there. I'm still saying I literally haven't gotten up. I'm just sitting.
Accelerando will get back from pacing and strap himself in.
But just imagine Accelerando in like a 10-foot space, just
Pretty much.
Just cleaning everything. Okay, so everybody in your jet takes their seats in the cargo area, straps into their harnesses. There's probably about 8 other people with you in this Helix jet, and when you were departed, there were 3 others, or 3 other jets. Not people that have gone missing. Realize the ambiguity there.
We actually picked up more people.
Aliens are on the ship.
The as you all sit down and pull on your harnesses, there is a flash of light. It's kind of like strobe lights near the ceiling, and you watch as this sort of pixelated screen descends down in front of you, this holographic projection in front of both rows of people as you were kind of sitting across from each other. There is an image displayed on that, which is grainy at first and then steadily kind of comes into focus. And it's of a asteroid leaving behind it this trail of debris, this crystal sort of minefield behind it of ice and snow, this beautiful trail stretching off for hundreds of miles behind it in the center of this cluster of other asteroids. And you hear a voice coming over the system, or the comm system again. This one, different than before, you recognize as the chairman, Arma Farkas, or Eternity. She says, Wonder units. We received intel from our scouting satellites that heralded your arrival here. We believe, based on the information that's been gathered, this is the location of the Frost headquarters. We don't know what to expect upon arrival or what you're looking for exactly, but you'll be left to your own discretion on how to proceed. Your mission is to seek out this base, infiltrate through any means necessary, locate the person known as Zeitgeist and restrain them by any means necessary. You were the best, you are the best that we had to offer on this mission, as you have proven in the past months. Stay safe out there, and come home. Wander out. And the comm clicks again, and the image in front of you goes pixelated and then vanishes. One of the there's kind of some movement next to you, and the down the line, each one of you is kind of handed a small sort of case, one by one. They're sort of passed down the line from person to person. The case itself, as you open it, is a small metal device, sort of a circle, has a few sort of sensors on it, and then a band that extends out, or kind of you pull out from the sides, that's affixed to the neck. You all put those on. These are atmospheric and environmental regulators, also called air. And yeah, I've done a lot of those in this game, but it's electronic devices that envelops your body in a thin layer of atmosphere, which allows for survival in space and low atmosphere environments. So you've probably been informed on these at some point. Otherwise, Machina is now talking your ear off and telling everybody exactly what these are. Machina not needing one. But you are all given your devices to survive on this environment. You do know that it's not going to protect you from the extreme cold, it's enough to protect you up to a point. You're still going to feel cold, and you'll still, suffer the effects, but you won't just freeze instantly on the ice asteroid. As you put on the devices, there are a few, I'd say probably about an hour or so, after your briefing and after everything, after you've equipped, of just kind of silence. This some muttering of people having conversations around you, but this mounting tension that is sort of filling the room. Eventually, as you continue to approach, there is the screens come down again, this time showing a live feed as you watch the asteroid or your ship from the comm panels and the video relays from the front of the vessel with the pilot seeing. You can see as the ship is now approaching the asteroid. You can faintly make out ahead of you some of the other ships that are moving, Helix jets that are moving slightly ahead towards the asteroid. As you approach, you can see kind of the swirling mass of snow and some thin atmosphere that you can see on this asteroid, creating some sort of distortion to it. However, what catches your eye for a moment is you see there's a flicker to the lights inside the ship for a moment. Just briefly, enough to sort of throw you off for a minute, like a fluorescent kind of flickering. And as you look back to the panels, you watch as the Helix jet in front of you, or that is preceding yours, is just slowly beginning to drift to the side, no longer maintaining its straight trajectory.
Is it supposed to do that?
Can I walk up to the pilots, or am I like strapped in?
I mean, you're strapped in right now. You could unstrap in if you
Okay,
want.
well, I didn't know if like we were in some kind of specialized harness that keeps us strapped in.
No, I mean, you have free reign if you wish to unstrap yourself. That is up to you.
Yeah, he's gonna unstrap and go to the pilots just to see what in the hell's going on.
Okay. You unbuckle your harness and pull yourself out. Make your way along the ship towards the pilot's cabin at the front. As you see the ship ahead of you, the rest of you watching on the monitor as it's just drifting slightly, suddenly there is a flash as you watch the stabilizing jets on the side or on the sides of the ship begin to fire on, and the whole vessel just begins to spin. Just kind of and you watch it kind of careening off camera from that moment. Everybody else around you begins to panic, obviously. The other 8 people that are on the ship with you. They begin to yell forward, seeing Sentinel making his way out. Sentinel, you hear the sounds of panic behind you as you're making your way towards the captain's cabin. You get to the door. It's currently... actually, there wouldn't be a door here because it's not a commercial vessel. But so you make your way forward, and as you reach the front of the Helix jet, you see the pilots kind of frantically messing with the controls, hitting buttons, calling out on the comms. Says, Wonder, come in. Mayday, Sir, Sentinel, please get it. And they begin to look back towards you and says, get back to your seats. We have a problem.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I was trying to see what the hell was going on.
I don't know, but if you just saw it and you feel this, you feel the G forces as the ship begins to careen to the side. The pilots begin to yell and panic. You begin to tumble within the ship as the whole thing begins to spin as well. The rest of you feeling the force of the centripetal force as the ship begins to careen in the same way as the other one did.
Before he gets bounced around too much, I super fast undo my harness, run, grab him, put him back, buckle him in, and buckle myself.
Okay, I'm gonna have you make a check for that. I'm gonna say this is this would be a difficulty 5 task,
Okay.
and I guess running would probably be the most.
Sure. I'm trying to remember. I guess I can still technically fail with a natural 1, but I also just don't remember the math well enough. Well, that's a failure. Wait, hold on. Why is it?
No, you're good.
Okay, hold on. What?
No, that
what
would
happened there? Okay, so
yeah, because you're specialized, which is a 2, and you have a 3 power shift.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're fine because that brings the difficulty down to a 1 to the minimum. You rolled a 3, so you're okay.
All right.
So even though you're still a little thrown off, with the ship reeling underneath you, you're quickly able to, as everything else goes into slow motion, everyone except for Machina panicking, as he is just sort of strapped into the center of the room, sort of like Bastion, just kind of bolted to the ground, and the whole thing's just like spinning underneath him. And you go zooming forward. You know, zooming forward, grab onto Sentinel, who you're kind of frozen there, watching this all happen. Suddenly, Sentinel, you feel yourself kind of launched backwards, and in the blink of an eye, you find yourself strapped into your seat.
All right. I knew we had you on a team for a reason.
You still owe me that money. I won't
I
add
need it
anything to
now.
the tab for it.
I'm going to pull out of the glass body into my normal body, and this is probably going to make me regret spending all my XP, but can I say I've got bullshit magnets in my boots that allow me to just stick to the surface of the craft? Or in my feet, rather. I don't wear boots unless my boots are my feet, but I'm getting off track.
Okay, I'll say for an XP, you can have that.
Damn it!
So you spend all your XP.
Yeah.
So no.
I'm a little concerned about you having magnets next to all your computer stuff.
I mean, they're not superconductors, so it's okay.
So if you want to get right now, I'm assuming your big body is kind of strapped onto the ship.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in the little one, you're going to be kind of free. If you want to detach from your big body, you're going to be kind of free floating.
Mm-hmm. Is this what? Yeah, I'm still gonna do it.
Okay, so you
Double check my things. I might be able to make this work.
you detach from your consciousness, transplants into the smaller form. You detach yourself from the back of the larger one, and you find yourself sort of free floating in the air as the ship is sort of spinning around you for a moment.
First surface I get near, I want to sort of cling onto in any way I can, like if
Okay.
there's a random bar, if I have to try dig my fingers into the floor, etc., so I can
Okay.
pull myself towards the cockpit.
Okay, so you begin to pull yourself along. Not terribly difficult, since you're just trying to pull yourself forward. The ship is spinning around you, and eventually you make it up towards the cockpit. There you can see the pilots still frantically trying to gain control of the ship, yelling into the comms. You can see out through the display panel in front of you the vision of the asteroid getting steadily closer and closer.
Okay, I would like to use my servo repair ability. My servo aids me in repairing other devices, whether it is next to you or not. You get an asset on all repair tasks.
Okay.
And I want to use that to try and repair whatever damage has been done to the craft to disable these controls.
Okay. Yeah. I'll yeah, you can make that check. I'm saying this is going to be a difficulty 6 task.
Okay. And having an asset would reduce that by 1, I believe.
Having asset reduces it by 1
So that's definitely difficulty 5.
to 5.
So repairing machines. Damn it. Roll the 4.
All right. You quickly begin to you tap into the panel, gaining control of the systems, or kind of running a diagnostic on the system for a minute. At that point, you realize this is not there's no damage to the ship. The ship's perfectly fine. However, the controls have been hacked by something, which is currently causing the ship to veer out of control.
So are we like totally spinning?
Yeah,
like
right
the
now,
other one?
Yeah, you're spinning.
We've been hacked. Can I use my scan ability to try to scan the ship and try to find, like, if we can't do it through the computers, maybe we could just force it, try to find, like, a stabilization point?
Okay. So trying to find, like, a physical part of the ship.
Where we could try to, like, stop the ship from spinning so much.
Okay, so sort of like cutting the engines or something like that.
I don't know science.
Sure.
I just had a very bad idea for if this next thing fails.
Okay, yeah, so using your scan ability.
Or if there's, like, you know when, like, the car is about to, like, the bus is about to go off a cliff and everybody runs back to the back of the bus? Like that.
Oh, so you're trying to, like, physically trying to stabilize the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any knowledge of, like, machines or anything like that? Any skills that would apply?
I have science and crafting.
Science
and
works.
I am trained in knowledge, whatever that means.
Yeah, I'd say science works. So you can make.
I also have a thing, the enable others. You can use the helping rules by the benefit to another character attempting a physical task. I don't know if that's necessarily what she's doing. What I'm thinking is like Superman, whichever one that is style. I just run in the opposite direction the ship is spinning.
For right now, this is a mental task for her, but that would come into effect if you guys decide to do something more like physical. But right now, go ahead and make her check using science.
Science! Well, I rolled a 3.
Guys.
Because no one that plays this game can roll above, like, a 5.
So that natural 20 I rolled before the stream actually killed everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all of you. As the ship continues to spin, you use this. You try to scan around you, but you don't have a good. I would say you don't have a good enough grasp on the mechanics of the ship to really know what you could do to stop this at this point. And Accelerando, you wanted to do something.
Yeah, I want to try running in the opposite direction that the ship is spinning to try and get it to stabilize.
Okay. We're gonna full on Superman this or Flash this.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we'll go by comic book logic here. You
Yep.
unclip from the machine or from the harness, and very quickly you find the center of the ship and begin to begin to run around circles. I'm gonna say this is a running check because that's all you're really doing.
Yep.
But this is, I mean,
I also don't know if we'll regain control at all. We'll just stop spinning.
honestly, I'm gonna say this is a 10 task. This is an impossible task to accomplish, which for you I think is automatically going to reduce to. So it's a difficulty 10. You can apply anything you want to with effort.
Yeah, if my power shifts, I need to remember how this math works. So power shift 3 brings it down to difficulty 7, which means I need to roll at least a 21.
Yeah.
Which means
on
unless I.
a 20-sided dice.
Yeah, so
You can
I
still
need
apply
to-
effort if you want to. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so I forget. What does edge and effort do? Does that mean I can do effort without spending anything, or is that for the
so-
abilities?
Effort, you have to spend 3 points from your stat pool to reduce the cost by 1 or reduce the difficulty by 1.
Mhm.
How many levels of effort do you have?
2.
Speed.
So I
Speed.
can do up
So
to
you
2
could-
effort.
It would be 5. So you spend an additional 2 points for the second to reduce it by another 1. So that would bring you down to a difficulty 5 check.
Mhm.
Because you have edge, what would normally cost you 5 points is reduced to 4 because it reduces the cost by 1. So you could spend 4 from your speed pool, to reduce
So
the
with
task.
2 edge, would that make it so that it's only 2 points total?
Oh yeah, so it would reduce it to a 3. Because it's 3 for the first one, 2 for the second one, so it's a 5. So it brings it down to a 3 total. So you spend 3 from your speed pool, and you reduce it to a difficulty 5 test.
Yep. Okay.
So you gotta roll 15 or higher.
Yep, which, isn't impossible.
It is not.
Wait, hold on.
Nope.
Why does it say success then?
Did you put it in as a difficulty 10 task?
I put it in as a difficulty 5 because we reduced it down to 5.
Yeah, it applied your specialized again, so
Got
it was
it.
double counting that.
Whoops.
So in the future, we'll just reduce it by the others. But
I was off
No,
by
wait.
one
Wait.
number. Hold on.
you're specialized in it.
Yeah.
So
Takes it
yeah,
down by 2.
it would take it down by another 2. So it was only a difficulty 3 check for you. Yeah. So yeah, that you do succeed on that. I forgot that you're automatically reducing it from a 10 to a 5, and then from there you reduce it to a 3.
This game is so hard.
Super crunchy, but you managed to accomplish the impossible by zooming around at the in the opposite direction of the ship's momentum as it spins. You all feel kind of this lurching sense of zero gravity at this point as the ship is counteracted from this barrel that it's gone into as you're able to counteract that. You just continue to in the center of the ship. You do know that the engines are still going, so you're able to counteract it, but somebody's gonna have to do something to cut the engines to gain full control of the ship.
Speaking of cutting the engines, I've got another thing I'm going to try.
Okay.
Well, first up, technically 2 things, but one of them I might have technically already done because I've already plugged into the ship. But one of the things I've got is interface. By directly plugging into the device, you can identify and learn to operate it as though the task were 1 level lower.
Okay.
And I want to use that with, this would probably be using machines to disable any autopilot, put everything purely under manual control.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say you could do that. I'll put this as a difficulty. Okay, I'm gonna say it's still gonna be difficulty 6 because of what you're going up against right now.
Okay. I also forgot to mention this last time because it would have applied to that, but I do have an intelligence power shift for all knowledge, science, and crafting tasks.
Okay. So we'll reduce that to a 5, and then you get to reduce it to. You said using your ability, reduce it to a 4.
My ability was just so I understood how the ship works. So that, it does. It gives me an asset in whatever I'm doing.
So now you're at 4.
Difficulty 4.
And if you want to apply the effort or anything.
I am applying effort. I have 1 edge and 3 effort.
Yeah. So how many effort do you want to use?
I'll use 2.
2. Okay. So it's going to cost you 4 to do 2 levels of effort. And that will bring it down to, what did I say, 6, 5, 4. That brings it down to 2. All right. Just got to roll 6 or higher.
This was using machines. Yes!
You do. All right. So here's what happens after all of this. So we'll kind of see this through Cerebellix's view because you're kind of scanning the ship right now. And you feel as you're sitting there, you feel as the ship kind of comes back into righting itself. You can still sense the engines going. You're looking for some way to cut it off, and then suddenly the everything just cuts off for a second, except for the emergency lighting in the ship, as Machina has disabled all the autopilot and all the auto functions. You still have air to breathe and still fine there, but everything has gone on manual right now. Suddenly some of the lights flicker back on, just kind of as Machina, you take control of the ship manually. The pilots, they're kind of, I'd say probably unconscious at this point, being normal humans. You're able to kind of pull them out from the ship, and they sort of just drift behind you, or pull them off and kind of gently glide them back down towards the cargo bay where some of the other heroes back there take them and strap them into their into some seats that are still open. You get into the pilot's chair and begin to take control of the ship, flying it now manually. You watch as the other 3 wonder vessels, 2 of them continue to spin and just go on a straight trajectory towards the asteroid. And you watch as they just careen downwards. It looks like the other ship, you see it kind of cut off as well, as if something has happened that also disabled it. But instead of regaining control of it, it just seems to be drifting, not towards anything at this point, but not on a straight trajectory towards the ground. You have control of the ship right now, so are you taking it down towards the asteroid?
I'm going to take it towards the asteroid because that's our mission.
All right. You begin to glide down and nosedive down towards the ground, lifting or kind of careening backwards as you hit that lower atmosphere, the little bit that there is. You all feel that jolt of hitting the small amount of atmosphere that surrounds this asteroid. The rocking sensation of the jets kicking in to slow your descent as the Helix vessel glides down towards the icy surface. You also feel the rocking as you enter the atmosphere of this asteroid, as there is an intense blizzard that is just swirling across the landscape here. Eventually, Machina, you're able to find a place to land safely. And you do within a snowbank. You kind of drifting down. You kick the landing gear out. Finally, kind of setting down. You cut off the engines, and the whole thing kind of a bit off to the side, but it's stable.
How close were we to the other ships? Or did we not see where they ended up?
I'd say Machina, you were keeping an eye on it from your pilot's chair. You lost visual on the other ships as you were making your landing. They're probably miles and miles from where you are right now.
Wow, so like I said before, flying towards a super evil frozen space base with an entire fleet of ships, not a great idea.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a fleet of ships. There were 4. But
4 very easily seen and obviously fucked with ships.
No, not at all. It had nothing to do with where we were going.
Well, we're here now.
Yep.
Ish.
Sorta.
I've got very little information to try and make this guess, but from our dossier and what I was able to see of the asteroid belt from the pilot's seat, would I be able to hazard a guess at how close we are to our actual destination?
The dossiers didn't give you a location. They just knew it was on the asteroid and part of your mission here, and you haven't equipped or given the kind of long range equipment needed to seek out and locate this base. Essentially, it's kind of a scavenger hunt at this point. You know that you can detect the presence of a subterranean or the base or any sort of comms or technology if you can get within about 10 miles of it. But otherwise, it's going to be kind of a running around looking for things in the snow.
Oh, I'm gonna go get in the big body then.
I can run around real fast. But I also don't think it's a good idea to split up at this point.
Can you run around real fast with, like, me on your back? And I can scan as we go?
Can certainly try.
With the ship's systems, and now that Machina has control of them, do they have any like scanning capabilities to see if there are any people or creatures or anything around us?
Not unless Machina decides to enable the electronics of the ship.
I guess I'm gonna have to try and do that.
I was about to say, like being the military guy before we left is just one of those. Hey, we might as well just scan the area before we walk outside into a blizzard and get shot to death.
Hi,
Yeah, I mean-
I can do that with my brain.
Yeah, you have, and I guess I should have made this clear. You've been given devices that allow you like portable scanners
Cool.
to use that aren't a part of the ship. If you want to use those, but yeah, Alex can also scan the area using her psychic powers. I'd say that Machina has probably been in some sort of homing or tracking device has probably been given to him to upgrade his systems or something.
I'll put it in my head.
But you guys have a couple of methods right now. You can turn on the ship, and the ship's scanners could help in the situation, but that's up to you. You don't know whatever virus got into the ships that allowed this breach would be able to suddenly murder you if the ship was turned back on.
It's also very loud and very bright.
Then activating the ship, any electronics may reactivate the autopilot, which may also send off us careening off into a different asteroid.
Which
Just
does
need
not
to-
sound fun.
Doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
Just make sure we leave enough enabled that all the humans survive on the ship. Yes, we have to
Oxygen,
leave them.
atmosphere, heating, all active and should last a period of time.
Yeah.
If we don't make it out, it's probably they're not going to make it out, but
So you do still have the two pilots that are unconscious and being tended to. You have 8 other wonders with you, or 8s with you. Ironically, I didn't think about that when I came up with that number. So you have 8 8s that are currently with you at this point. But they will, as they've been given the same task as you in their separate units, 2 units of 4, they will split up from you, and your 3 separate units will kind of branch off and look for survivors. One of the units will stay here and tend to the pilots until they regain consciousness.
I want to do a, like, cursory scan of outside the ship to make sure there are no, like, yetis or other generally terrifying things that might want to eat us.
Okay. You discovered my plan for space yetis, so I have to erase that encounter.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you do a cursory scan of the area and kind of you do
Except
not,
it's just me standing there making that sound.
yeah, you do not pick up any life forms besides yourself within the immediate area.
I think we're alone. At least for the moment.
I'm not sure if I prefer that or an army of genetic clones trying to kill us.
Well, as long as they haven't somehow been able to create vampire space yetis, I think we'll be okay out there.
You never know.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, I guess I'm being snowplow for this.
If you don't mind.
I mean,
All right.
if
So you
feel like it.
you open up the cargo bay doors, and as you do, there's kind of this rush of cold air and snow that enters as the lifting mechanism or the ramp of the cargo bay kind of lowers down. You begin to step out, Machina. Make your way. You step off in the snow, sink down about 3 feet, and just begins to carve out this swath of snow in front of him as you march forward. The other three of you coming behind in this wake, as soon as you exit from the ship, you get this blast of cold. Yes.
I can hover, so I hover.
Okay, so you hover. Hovering is a bit difficult, given the intense wind. So you sort of begin to hover off course a bit, and then kind of have to hover back, and then you kind of hover away. So it's kind of this like serpentine you're doing to keep.
It's better than walking in the snow.
Yeah, that's true. You, as soon as you make it off the ship, there's this brief moment where it's this intense cold and kind of this, as you're having difficulty breathing before the regulators kick in, and then you feel slightly warmer and the ability to breathe normally. Based on your readings here, there is an atmosphere. There isn't enough nitrogen, oxygen to form like a breathable atmosphere on this asteroid, but there is some amount of a small trace amount of atmosphere here as well. But luckily, with your air, you're able to breathe. So Machina, you leading the charge and Cerebellix behind, both of you scanning, you begin to cut through the snow up ahead, and you go essentially marching across the asteroid. The terrain down here is rocky with tall spires of ice jutting up in crisscross patterns all across the landscape. This thick snow and this intense howling blizzard just assaulting you at all times. You're able to stay in contact using your comm systems for the most part, being that even a foot or two away from each other, you can't even hear each other. It is so loud out here. As you march for the next, you presume that only through the clocks or any sort of timekeeping mechanisms you guys have, knowing that the hours pass, as there is very... the light here is sort of weird. You can see the stars in the distance, and you get the light from the sun, which is very often blotted out by other asteroids passing around it, and this weird sort of strobe effect as you're crossing this terrain. But even still, at this distance, the sunlight doesn't provide you with enough light to really see much of your surroundings. Eventually, after marching for a while, and I assume Accelerando probably doing some scouting just off from side to side, kind of trying to get as much of the terrain as you can, cover as wide of an area as possible. Eventually, Accelerando, as you scout ahead with the scanners, just as you're about to turn back, you kind of pick up a dee-dee-dee-dee-dee with the comms device that you have. You stop for a second, and you look down at it, and you can see the small sort of radar-like device. There's a faint blip just towards the edge, kind of off towards a 45-degree angle from where your unit was traveling.
Hey guys, we got a hit over here.
Anything
Now
big?
coming.
I don't know how big it is, but it's something, and that's more than nothing we've been getting.
That'll work.
Just keep plowing.
Okay. Keep plowing through the snow and you head that direction. One,
Just
two.
run in a circle on top of the snow so I don't start sinking in.
Yeah. Eventually, after cutting through this bizarre sort of like archway of ice, you come out into this plain here with just this clear area of snow in front of you, still howling, still with this intense blizzard just perpetually going all around you. You can see up ahead, just faintly, I would say mostly probably Machina and anybody else that has any sort of like special goggles. I know you do, Cerebellix. The two of you able to make out with any sort of devices you have. You can see there is a section far up ahead where you see the snow is sort of distorting over something. And you can see underneath that distortion is a gray building. Essentially a maybe 20-foot tall, 70 or 80 foot wide, slate gray bunker.
First thing I want to do is transmit this location or the coordinates or whatever I can do back to the ship, and then see if they can relay that to the other teams.
Okay, so you connect there and send that message back, and it does seem like it hits some of the comm devices there and is relayed out to the others, and you get that ping in your system of the other Wonder units in the area being alerted to what you've located. I assume it also sends a signal back towards Earth, towards Wonder headquarters, but it's going to take some time for that to get there and back.
So
what are the odds it's not trapped?
I would say very low.
Approximately 2.34%. I could go into more decimal places.
Please don't.
So do we try going quietly or make an entrance?
Can you go quietly like that?
Not easily.
What if we cover you in snow and make you look like a giant snowman? They'll never see it coming.
That would be a shock.
And I mean, the snow wouldn't melt because you don't really give off body heat, so...
They'll just start running around and gathering snow and just like trying to pile it onto his legs.
I would like to...
I assume with little success.
I will scan and try to find an entrance.
Okay. You scan ahead and kind of get this outline of the facility. There does seem to be a fortified entrance to the bunker along the sort of, I guess, can't really do north, south, east, and west, but along the right side of the building as you're approaching it or looking at it. You do also sense that there are some other structures along the top of the building, some other mechanical devices that are currently not moving, but they look in your brain picture a lot like turrets.
We do have some experience with turrets.
You do have some experience with turrets. That's why I'm giving that to you. This is probably the fourth time you guys have encountered turrets.
Still alive. Turrets on top. One fortified entrance on the right side.
Well, turrets probably won't be that big of an issue, but it's what happens when they start working.
When they start working, they typically shoot.
I'm thinking they haven't seen us yet, and that's why they're not moving.
Yes, Machina.
Could
That's
maybe,
what I was going through.
maybe run up. If you can point me to where their cameras are, I run up with snow and just cover them up. Because of course they wouldn't have any way to clear that out, being on a snowy asteroid, but it might buy us some time.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have this ability called telepathic,
Mhm.
which lets me communicate with people two-way. It just says that I can like talk to them, but I'm wondering if because I have so much edge and like power shifts and stuff in my intellect, if I can like project a simple image, like if I
I'd
can
allow
like
that.
ping where they are on the roof.
Sure. I'd allow that.
In Accelerondo's brain.
Yeah. Accelerando, suddenly you get a slight headache, and you have a very clear mental image when you close your eyes of the scan that Cerebellix just received.
More accurate than pointing.
Yep, this will work. And then I will attempt to, I guess, just run towards the base without, trying to go fast enough that I can't be seen. I don't know if I can do that without throwing up a spray of snow in my wake. But now that I know where the cameras are, wait for them to not be looking, zip over, and then just start trying to cover them up with snow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put this at a. Let's see. I'm gonna put this at a 7 task for you.
Okay. And this is still running.
Yeah, so you're automatically reducing it by 3, and then I think everything else is factor in unless you're going to do an effort.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will spend 1 effort on this. So that's 1 speed pool point because 2 edge.
Okay, so it was a 7 down to a 4. You reduce it to a 3. All right.
Okay. So then on the sheet, should I make it difficulty 3 or keep it difficulty?
Yeah, on the sheet, make it difficulty 3 because then it's also going to apply your 2 specializations.
Okay.
We're going to figure this out before we stop playing the system.
Yeah. Last session, everybody, we're figuring it out. So that's a 15, which is a success.
That is more than enough. Yeah, you go zipping through the snow. There's a slight kind of burst of snow kind of kicked back on all you for a second. But you watch as he approaches, the amount of kickback becomes less and less as his feet touch the surface of the snow, less and less. Eventually, you as you reach the edge of the barrier, you hit it, and you pass through the barrier. The snow stops at that point, and it being sort of a light sort of force field, and you sort of feel the barriers you pass through it, distorting the wind around you. Immediately, as you pass through it, you see both the turrets kind of begin to and begin to very slowly, from your perspective, turn towards the source of what passed through. However, you moving at this incredible speed are able to leap, sort of somersaulting up onto the roof, taking chunks of snow, and then just jamming it onto the sensors on either side, the 2 visual sensors. You watch as the turrets then kind of turning towards the entry point there, begin to just fire over in that direction, and then stop and just remain trained on that location.
Okay, I say in my comms, maybe go in somewhere other than where I went through, but we should be good for now.
Well done.
How positive are you about that?
I ain't no scientist. The turrets stopped firing, and they're looking that way. They can't see anymore, so just don't go where they shot.
Works for me.
All right.
I only have an intellect of 11, man. What do you expect from me?
All right. So the other 3 of you sneak around or kind of go to a different point. Are you all going to the same area and passing through, or are you going to separate areas and passing through?
I go like relatively far away from Machina.
Okay.
He's so loud.
Well, you've lost your shield. I'm gonna walk around a different way as well.
Okay. So you all get to your points on the barrier and you go to pass through the barrier. You guys go in a specific order? You can all go in at once, or
I'm going.
Machina goes first. It's just like World War II. You let the tank go first, and then you crowd in behind him.
all right. So Machina, you pass through the barrier. And as you go pass through, as you feel yourself move through this force field, suddenly the two turrets kind of lock over onto that area, and they begin to fire. I need you to make a speed defense roll.
Oh no, I need that body sheet, don't I? Speed. I rolled a 17.
Well, shit. Okay. Yeah, that's enough. You are actually able to very quickly kind of and just kind of hurl yourself off to the side just as the guns fire into the snow straight there. The other two of you pass through on the other sides, running forward. As both of you pass through, the turrets spin around towards the areas you pass through and fire near those points in the force field. However, given the distraction Machina provided, do not have time to train on your location. They remain locked there, but don't seem to notice your current positioning within the barrier.
Well, that didn't work quite as well as I hoped, but they're not shooting anymore.
Yeah, and you watch as they're kind of like,
Are you still there?
Yeah.
I want to make a snowball and throw it through the barrier.
You throw the snowball through the barrier, and both trucks go.
I'm not sure if that's the most brilliant system or the stupidest. But all right, I'm not saying anything.
Okay, but you can see between the two turrets at the point of the building that's now visible to a couple of you. You can see this heavily fortified metal doorway of some sort of unknown metal, probably unobtainium or something. I don't know.
Well, they wanted me to try going quietly, so I'm gonna use my servo to help me hack the door.
Okay. You go over to the comm system on the door and jack in, sort of R2D2 style. All right, make me a hackety hack check.
So this would be using machines?
Yeah, I'll say using machines. I'll say this is a difficulty 4.
Hack
And
the planet!
And the servo gives me an asset on this, which would make it a difficulty 3 then.
Yes.
Cool. Roll. 18.
Yeah, no, that works. You jack into the panel on the side of the door, probably some sort of like key card access or bioscanner. You spend a few seconds getting sort of familiarizing yourself with the systems. Suddenly there is a whooshing noise as the doors whoosh, slide open, revealing the interior of the facility.
Can I try to scan ahead of us to see if there are people in here? How many people are in here? What kind of people are in here?
Okay. From your scanning right now, what you're able to scan from the outside, you're not scanning much. And it doesn't take your scanning to realize probably why. Because down this hallway is just like this sort of this black laminate kind of reflective floor, ceiling, walls, like the evil version of that facility that you were in before with the Fantastic Axeman.
You don't say.
You hear a very this audible kind of, and you can see kind of flashing lights, and every once in a while you hear a mechanical voice echoing, "Evacuate the facility. Evacuate the facility."
I don't think we've ever been able to get into a building without setting the alarm off.
Maybe it was like that when we got here.
The whole idea
Did
that
set
Possible.
the turrets off, what, 4 times? 5?
I mean, they did hack into our ship systems, try to kill us, and then we went through a barrier. So
They don't know we're here. It's fine.
they know something's here. I will
Yeah.
admit, they don't know we're here.
Well, the
Through
thing
the
that
door. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk,
the thing
ka-chunk.
that really makes me nervous is if it was already on when we got here.
What does that mean?
What's in here?
Yeah.
It's not another thing with too many eyes.
Ugh,
Don't
I hope
don't
not.
remind me of that.
All right, so you guys head inside and down the sloping hallway.
No choice now.
I mean, we
All
could
right.
just leave, but
We go
So-
in.
yeah, we go.
So as you enter, the doorways eventually kind of slide closed behind you, as you are no longer controlling them, Machina. And there's just this sort of mid-level. It's not just like this blaring alarm, but it's definitely noticeable as you move through this facility. This alarm that continues on and on and on and on. You pass by as the hallways seem to all slope down, like the whole facility is built downwards into the asteroid itself. You pass by a number of chambers and rooms and laboratories that all look abandoned. Like there were beakers and other science equipment dropped on the ground in the middle, clipboards and papers, everything kind of scattered around. You see a number of things that seem to be like hastily shoved into shredders. All sorts of this mass panic that you can see of probably dozens and dozens of people that were in this facility 9 hours ago. And judging by the state of the spilled coffee and the half-eaten food around the facility, it looks like it was probably abandoned probably several hours ago, if not half a day ago. So probably wasn't you guys outside. As you descend downwards and downwards through through these chambers, through this facility, you keep, I assume, checking rooms. You don't find any signs of people currently being here at this point. And Sarah Felix continuously scanning. As you descend, you sense that it's still deeper and deeper down below. You're not picking up anybody. You're not picking up anybody. And then finally, you get sort of a blip far, far down beneath you, just kind of ding on your radar of some life form that is far below.
Just one?
Just one. The facility keeps going downwards, but as far as you're telling, if you keep following this hallway, there is a chamber down below that you're going to go through, that there is somebody there.
Well, there was someone down there.
Well,
What are the odds it's Zeitgeist?
at this point, it wouldn't be a huge surprise.
I doubt it's that simple.
If only.
I'd get ready for something big and ugly. That isn't me.
You're not ugly.
Oh, we weren't gonna say it.
Well, down we go.
Yeah.
All right. So you descend down the chambers, and as you're heading downwards, you feel that presence not moving, but getting closer and closer as you do. Eventually, it evens off into to a set of double doors leading into whatever facility chamber this person is in. You walk up to the doors. You're just opening them up or punching through. What's the entrance you guys are making as there's somebody on the other side of them?
Can I, because my scan lets me, like, reveal creatures' level and, like, pertinent facts about them?
Okay.
Can I tell if it's, like, is it a person?
Does seem to be a person.
It's not, like, a goo monster or
Seems
a
to be
yeti?
seems to be a person.
He throws a Yeti at us once, Savannah.
I really, really like yetis.
The sense that you're getting in there, you're sensing it is a person. You're sensing that they are an 8. You're sensing a meta. You're sensing that they are a level 6.
Still don't know what that means, but great.
Essentially, that's the difficulty of pretty much anything you have to do when fighting them.
That makes sense.
And you're sensing something very, very cold.
It's not like someone that's familiar to me, though.
No.
Okay. I'll pass that information on.
Well, it's not who I thought it might be, but I mean, we gotta keep going, so.
Be careful.
I open the door, and this time I do it my way. I just rip the thing away.
Okay.
They know we're here. Fuck it.
You pull the door off. It goes scatter. All of you duck as the door comes flying down the hallway. As it does, there is this burst of cold that comes out from this room, and you glare into a large, looks to be like a cafeteria or something of sorts. A large, like, kind of meeting area space, probably extends up 20 or 30, or probably 2 or 3 stories. Tables and everything gathered around, and sitting in the center of the room is a man, dark skin, black hair, wearing a sort of just tattered gray clothing, and he's sitting there and he looks up at all of you, and you see as his eyes open just these gleaming white eyes. And then there's this burst of cold that just seems to wash over you with it. Machina, you immediately on your sensors, you ID this person from your database, and you see flashing across your screen in big red lettering, absolute 0, do not engage, danger. And just like big warning letters. And as he looks up at all of you, he says, finally, I was getting bored. And he stands up, and there's this just blizzard that erupts in the center of the room. And we are going to go into combat after this break.
Oh.
All right, we'll keep it quick because we still have a lot more to do to finish this out. So take a 5-minute break. Everybody can stick to that. Just get some, use the bathroom, get some food, run around circles. All right, we will be right back, everyone. Everybody roll for initiative. Oh, okay. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. We are jumping back into combat because we got a lot to get through. So everybody roll for initiative.
Okay.
Make your initiative checks. Task is a 6.
I rolled a 17. That's the best I've ever rolled.
Well, that's a natural one.
I rolled a 25.
All right.
Oh yeah, you've got specialized stuff in there, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
I rolled an 8, so
Okay.
In true Machina fashion.
All right. So what I said was difficulty 6. So that put it at 18. So one of you succeeded with a GM intrusion. So you're able to, as this is burst, this wave of cold energy, which instantly ices over everything in the room. All of you try to leap out of the way, preparing yourselves for combat. Sentinel, you're able to get yourself in the best position and react to this the fastest. However, Accelerando, in that moment, you're not sure why, but there's something that causes you to hesitate. And as this happens, the blast of cold energy hits you, and you feel this biting cold sensation in your feet as your feet are frozen to the floor. And that will start with Sentinel's turn.
That's not good. It's not good at all. All right, so I can see absolute 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a skill thing called Find the Flaw. So if an opponent has a straightforward weakness, the GM will tell you what it is. So like looking at him now, is there anything that I can see that might be like a straightforward weakness? Is he like immune to cold damage? Does he take extra damage from fire, etc., etc.?
As far as weaknesses go, I'd say you're able to gather. Is it just weaknesses, or is it like strengths as well?
Well, it literally says if an opponent has a straightforward weakness, takes extra damage from fire, can't see out of his left eye, and so on, the GM will tell you what it is. And that's it. That's all it says. Okay.
I would say his weakness, as far as you can tell, is that he's not very well armored. He just seems to be kind of a guy standing there. I mean, you're saying like there's not like as physical damage, probably is the most straightforward weakness you can see. You're also gathering that his visual field plays an effect on his powers in some way.
We have the communication devices that like we can speak to each other, right?
Yes.
Is that like an out loud, or is that like me and Cerebellix mind to mind?
No, that's an out loud. Yeah,
Okay.
It's a comm device.
All right, cool. Since we are probably still as close as we can be from going through the door, I relay that to everyone. Just don't let him look at you that long, because part of what he does has to do with his eyes. And then I'm gonna try to shoot him.
All right, shoot away.
Let's see, and then I'm gonna use the pierce, which I will use a speed point for to do extra damage, 1 additional damage. And let's see. Here we go. Where is my rifle? There it is. 11, but I've got a whole bunch of...
You're fine. Yeah, your difficulty, if you're reducing it by 6, then it's pretty much an auto hit unless you roll a 1.
Cool.
Okay. All right, so you
16 damage because I used pierce, which adds 1 damage.
Gotcha. So you aim with your rifle, poof, take the shot. You watch as the bullet almost seems to like crystallize in the air in the slow motion form, Accelerando. Nobody else would notice this except for your acute or your speed. You watch as a bullet kind of crystallizes in the air, but is still able to hit the person named Absolute Zero in the shoulder. It doesn't pierce, it actually shatters off him, but does have a serious impact, in which causes him to reel for a moment. He looks back but does take a serious amount of damage from that, though. Seems to have somehow sort of withstood a lot of that. So Sentinel, I think that's all you've got. However, you take 3 points of damage just from sheer proximity to Absolute Zero at this time. Being in the same room with this burst of cold, you find yourself slowly being sort of frozen. All right, that will put it to his turn. And he is going to, considering he just got shot by you, is going to look over towards you, Sentinel, and there's this intense focus of cold energy straight towards you. Make a speed defense roll.
Because I'm so good at those. Where's my sheet? There it is. Just a regular speed defense?
Yep.
Cool. 14?
Nope. You take another 5 points of damage.
Ow.
And you find yourself, much like Accelerando, frozen in place as this ice crystallizes around you. That is all that he's doing, and the rest of you, whoever wants to go first.
May I? I run in there and punch him.
Okay. So you go running forward. You get within melee. You can feel your set. There's kind of this like pew, pew, pew in your sensors here as there's this drop in temperature as you get closer. However, you rear back to go for the punch. Go to make your attack.
So I'm also gonna. I really want to hit him with this punch, so I'll spend all the effort I can. I've got an edge of 3 in my might with this body.
Okay.
So, what's the maximum? Effort is 3 as well.
Okay. So
what am I spending from my pool?
Okay, so you're spending 3 effort?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be 3 + 2 + 2. So that, and you have an edge of 1 or 2.
I have 3 edge in might in this body.
3 edge in might. Okay, so that would be 7 minus 3, so it's be 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. So it's difficulty 6 normally.
Yeah.
So that makes it difficulty 2.
Okay.
And I go for my big ol' heavy punch.
Go for it. Wow.
I am glad I did everything I could.
Yeah, because that would not have exceeded otherwise. So even rolling a 3, you were able to succeed on that, and you go for a heavy strike straight down into the face of this person, and you see Zero is sort of punched straight into the ground and just sort of slides across it. He catches himself and pulls himself back up. You can see that his shoulder is probably dislocated at this point from trying to block as much of the impact as possible, and is looking seriously hurt at this point. But is still keeping that intensity. You, at the end of your turn, because of your close proximity, take 8 points of damage from getting so close to Zero.
Mm-hmm. Just get the right thing up.
However, probably worth it considering how much damage you just did.
Worth it.
Yeah. And
for the audience at home, that punch does 20 damage, which is a lot.
20 damage. That will put it to Cerebellix and Machina, whatever you want to do.
Do you mean Accelerando?
Accelerando, that's what I meant.
After you, I'm still frozen to the
yeah, he's
ground.
frozen to the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, but he looks really injured, right?
Yeah.
Not Accelerando, Jack Frost over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get to him within short range of him
Yeah, within short range. Yeah, you can.
without dying immediately?
Feels really cold. Feels like you had to stay like that for long.
shit,
You're
oh,
gonna
shit, oh,
die
shit.
eventually, but not immediately.
Okay, I want to get within short range of him, and I want to say to the rest of my team, we really should capture him instead of killing him. Probably knows a lot of really important things. I want to use my new ability that I learned, my tier 2 ability called Stasis, which I would normally have to spend intellect points on, but because of my edge and my power shifts and lots of math, it's free now. I surround a foe of my size or smaller with scintillating energy, keeping them from moving or acting for 1 minute as if frozen solid. I must be able to see them, must be within short range, so he's totally in stasis, can't move or act for 1 minute. He's impervious to harm, can't be moved, and is immune to everything else. But he's frozen for a minute.
All right. That I did not expect. You you go pushing forward. You do take it was 3. You gave it a short range. So you do take 5 damage from getting into this proximity. However, you focus out, and is he staring at you with these gleaming white eyes? There's this barrier that begins to form around him, and suddenly all of the blizzard, all the cold in there is just cut off. There's still frost and snow and ice covering everything, but there's no longer this intense cold permeating the area, and there's just this bubble surrounding Absolute Zero in the center of the room, and he is unmoving, just staring forward.
And I would say you have 60 seconds, figure out a way to contain him.
Okay, I will something to get my feet free, whether that's vibrating my feetsies or I'm real good at jumping, so maybe jumping to break the ice.
Jitterbug.
Yeah, you've got a minute at this point, so you're good. You are able to shatter the ice around your feet and get yourself free. But you're okay.
Once I'm free, I take a scrap of cloth that I have, run up tight over his eyes. I have zip ties as well, but I don't think I can move his hands together to... Yeah. If his legs are close enough together, though, I will zip tie those.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so you blindfold him. Mm-hmm. And as he's still standing there in this distortion field. And okay, I don't know if he's standing with his feet close enough together to zip tie, but you could probably tie him to other objects or something if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just start zip tying a table to each arm and leg.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. You take all the objects in the room you can, and in an instant you're watching, he's standing there, this very imposing look on his face, and then there is a blindfold around him and about 5 or 6 tables zip tied together all around him, arms, legs, just this incredible amount of just debris that is currently tied and wrapped around Absolute Zero, who's still holding it all up for now until the stasis field ends. Anything else anybody's doing, because you probably have that probably took like 2 seconds, so you have like 58 seconds left.
I mean, if Machina has anything to... Can we hold actions in this game?
Sure. I don't know, and I don't want to look it up, so sure.
Okay. With the amount of damage he has, and if I have to spend an XP I think that's what it's called in this game. Yeah, an XP. If I have to spend an XP, I'll use my XP. But knowing that we were going after the head of Frost and that we wanted to keep him alive, is there any way I could have what is basically like beanbag rounds? So if I shoot him, it'll like knock him.
Rounds.
Yeah, like non-lethal rounds.
I'd say yeah. That's fine.
Cool. Then I am going to use my Overwatch ability. Spend an intellect point, which basically is exactly what it says. It's basically the whole action. And if he breaks out and attempts to, or has any way, shape, or form, gets past what Accelerando and Machina are doing, I'm just going to shoot him with a non-lethal round and just try to take him out.
Okay. All right. And Machina?
I also would have moved out of range so that if the cold comes back, I don't take damage.
Okay.
No, I do not have anything I can do.
Okay.
All I can do is wait and see if he needs punching again.
All right. So the minute passes, you all get in a position, and then suddenly there's this crashing noise as all of the debris that is tied to this this man here, this poor man, it comes crashing to the ground around him, essentially yanking him to the floor. All four arms kind of pinned down, and a cloth across his face, which immediately sort of like freezes over in that moment, and kind of looks around and says, what's happened?
You just froze up?
He kind of begins to pull himself up, and you hear him like straining against the debris all around him, but is unable to pull himself out. And there is this sort of wave of cold emanating out, but it's like it's muted. Essentially, it's like his eyes are essentially the forces or the sources of this cold energy, and it's just all being channeled right now onto this cloth, which is now like frozen to his face, with nowhere to go. You don't gather it'll hold very long. It's already kind of starting to crack a bit around the edges, but right now that seems to be enough to contain his visual prowess.
I don't know if we're still in initiative order here, or...
It's loose initiative right now. You guys can act as you want.
I'd like to run up, just lift his head up briefly, and with enough speed, like, I presumably would have practiced this maneuver, but like smack his head back down so that it knocks him out but doesn't splat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that as kind of a coup de grace here. So you see the ice sort of forming, it beginning to crack. You realize that it might not hold him for very long. You zoom up, just knock him on the ground, and that's enough to deal the remaining hit points he had left. And he is unconscious again.
All right, anyone else in this iceberg?
I think we should have someone come pick him up.
Yeah, most definitely.
Did Francis come to the ice planet with us?
No, Francis did not come to the ice planet with you.
Oh, he was my favorite.
He's the best NPC ever.
Can we...
He lived.
We'd like communicate back to someone else who's a part of this organization on this planet that we have, for the moment, captured Absolute Zero.
Okay. You send out the message through your comm device. You don't get a response. You're not sure if it made it to anyone, or if the facility itself might be blocking frequencies.
I could try just running him back to our ship.
You are really fast, huh?
Yep.
Can you carry him along with a table or four?
Oh, I can undo the tables and then just zip tie him now. Which I proceed to start doing.
We're going to need to find something to make sure his eyes are covered indefinitely.
Yep. I'd look around the room if there are any fabrics, or I don't think there would be curtains this far underground, but anything I can take and just like keep wrapping up his head until it's just like an absurd turban.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say, these tables, wooden legs or metal legs?
Metal legs.
Just going to get a couple of them, just twist, panel beat them against the wall to flatten them out, then just wrap that around his face.
like Cyclops.
Okay. Yeah. So you flatten a piece of metal down to a thinner sheet and just kind of bend that around to sort of form a very intense bandana across his eyes. Yeah.
Oh, this
just
poor murderous psychopath.
it just has this piece of metal just permanently attached to his face.
It could come off.
Maybe.
So I shouldn't have done the double knot on the end, or
No. Do the double knot.
You're just gonna have to untie it.
All right.
Should we leave him here?
Someone will be able to get information out of him. I don't know if you can do that when he's unconscious with your brain powers.
No. I'm assuming willing and able to communicate means awake.
Conscious. Yeah. We're going by consent here. Conscious person cannot provide consent.
Well, I guess until we figure something else out, I run him back. I try the message again just to make sure. And then I run back here. Will you all search this facility for any more clues? Any objections?
I think that's a fine plan.
sounds like a plan to me.
Be safe.
All right, I'll be back in however long it takes now that I know exactly where we're going and not.
You probably make it there and back in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, because I can now ranges. I move so fast now.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly how we came up with it, but essentially you can just move a few hundred feet in a couple seconds or something.
Yes. Immediate becomes short, short becomes long, and long becomes 200 feet for ranges.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
Running speed as well. So I can move just 50 feet as part of an act. The movement is weird.
Yeah. You can move super. We're just going with you can move super fast. So
Gotta go fast.
Pick him up, hurl him over your shoulder, and then go taking off out of the facility. The rest of you left in there. You can sense that there is still more of this facility down from where you're at. So if you want to begin heading that way, you can. Or you
Can I do a recovery roll while he's gone?
You can.
Cool. I'm gonna do the same.
I got
You could probably
no punched in the face.
You could probably get 2 recovery rolls in before he gets back, because the first one is an action, the second one's like 10 minutes or something, and I'll say if you guys want to take a couple extra minutes, you could do your second recovery roll.
Could I do a repair roll on my body then?
Yeah.
What is the plus? It's 1d6 plus.
Your level? Your tier? Hold on, let me check. Recovery rolls. You recover 1d6 plus tier points. Yeah.
Okay, so 2.
Yeah.
I rolled 7.
Nice.
So I'm good to go.
All right. So you just had to use your first one. So the next one you have to spend 10 minutes for. But
Yeah, I'm good.
awesome.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, to repair this body, I'm presumably going to have to climb out into my smaller body and then doobie-doobie-doo, because big old fists are nice and junk.
Okay.
So with my smaller body, I have an ability, with my servo repair. Your servo aids you in repairing other devices. Whenever it is next to you, you get an asset on all repair tasks. Would my other body count as another device?
It's the last game, sure. That's so broken, but sure.
You do realize that is precisely why I took that ability, right?
Yeah, I love it.
You gave him 2 bodies.
That is amazingly broken, though.
So, how are we doing this? What is the difficulty for my repair roll?
I forgot how we calculated this.
I took... wow, I took 11 damage in that fight.
11 damage. I don't remember exactly how we... You know what? I'm just going to say you took 11 damage, so it would be you'd have to roll what would be an 11 or higher, which would put it at a difficulty. We'll round up to difficulty 2, so I'll put it at difficulty 4 task.
So I have an
3.
asset, which makes it 3.
Yeah.
Repairing machines. I fail. It wasn't a nat 1 though, but I just fail.
You don't have any XP.
Nope.
Nope.
No, fine. Just don't repair the body then. I'm sure it can take a few more hits.
We will see.
You fight another Machina.
All right. And by that point, you guys all healing yourselves and looking around and stuff. Suddenly there's a as you return Accelerando.
Yep. Once I was outside, I would have relayed the message again of, hey, we captured Absolute Zero, dropping them at the jet. Did I get anything once I was back outside the barrier?
You did. The other teams responded. They got your prior message, and they are returning, or they are en route to your location.
Okay. Before leaving again, I'd double check on the human pilots. Just smack Absolute Zero in the head again to make sure he stays out, and then run back.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely do that. And they restrain him the best they can. I would say your ship probably has some sort of brig or other containment units in it, knowing what your purpose coming here was. You have some place where you could put him that might neutralize his abilities. Okay, so you are all back at the base and can continue your descent if you wish.
Any computers in this room, just quickly?
Yeah, there are a couple of not like computers as we know them, but like there are comms panels and other electronic devices in the walls for controlling the different aspects of the facility. This is like a cafeteria though, so there aren't like a lot of. There's one that controls the smoothie machine, and another one that controls the processed food dispenser unit.
It's Froyo now.
Yeah.
Can I turn the smoothie maker into a pressurized weapon? No, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think these computers would hold anything useful.
Okay. Well, some of these probably tap into the systems for like the facility. So you might be able to, if you wanted to attempt, you might be able to get some information from like the AC unit, which would connect to some of the other systems that can run and control the facility. But that's up to you.
Yeah, that may work.
Okay.
So just jacking into a thing that would be just my regular servo as the asset on it then?
Yeah. I'd say this is not the most difficult task you guys have done today. I'd put this at a difficulty 3.
So servo makes that a 2. And using machines, success.
All right. You connect to the facility, and you immediately get sort of a layout of some of the lower levels that Cerebellix hasn't been able to scan yet. And you do sense that there is higher security as you get further down into the facility, though all of the security at this point seems to be mostly inactive, except for a chamber at the lowest level of the base. It looks like the locking mechanisms and the security mechanisms to whatever chamber that is are still engaged.
All the locks appear to be active down at the center. I imagine we may find Zeitgeist still hiding there.
I don't like this.
It's too empty. Is he still plugged in at this point?
Yeah.
Machina.
Yes.
if you can, and we might need to find another computer, is there any self-destruct sequence on this, or anything that might kill us instantly on this asteroid?
Having a scan at this terminal, do I find anything like that hooked up?
Okay, so since you're probing deeper into the systems, looking for some more sophisticated programming, I'm going to have you make another check there. There are some other firewalls and other protections at this point to get into some of the sort of more complex systems at the facility. So I'd say that's probably going to be we'll put this one at a 5.
5, so thing makes it 4. Rolled an 18. Success.
All right. You probe through the facility and get an idea of the layout, and as you're going through and getting through some of these firewalls, you learn 2 things. One, there is definitely a self-destruct function of this facility. It is not active at this point. It has not been armed yet. But it is there. The second thing you learn is when you suddenly get a message from the system. It says, don't go sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. And immediately sort of pushes you out, and you get this big sort of like firewalls flying and coming in front of you, essentially ousts you from the system. And you are suddenly unable to access anything else.
There's a bomb. Zeitgeist knows we're here, and he's locked down the system.
Well, at least we know that he could kill us at any time if he wanted to.
Well, worst case, we take the sumbitch with us.
I will agree with that.
Okay, worst case, he somehow manages to get away, blows us up. But
Let's go with the first one. The first one was good.
We have to find him.
We do, and we have to take him.
do we know what Zeitgeist's power sets is?
No one knows.
At this point, I'd happily assume he has some form of cybernetic enhancement or ability to interact with technology.
Or he just knows how to set up a firewall, but...
That too.
It's a
So-
teenager laptop.
Right?
Hack the planet!
God dang it. So, I want to, before we go deeper and further into this place, knowing what we know now, I know mission is to take him alive, and we're going to do everything we can to do that. But is there a contingency plan for something else, if need be?
You want to just ask a straightforward question?
If it seems like he's going to get away, I'm going to kill him. Because I would rather have him dead than leave.
No offense, but if 1-8 could kill him,
Yeah, I know.
he'd have been dead a long time ago.
I know, but if it comes down to it and I have the shot, I'm going to try to take it. But I will say that is the last thing that I will try.
On your head be the consequences.
I'll take him. But first, we got to get to him. So come on.
Well, down we go.
All right. You all descend down and down, down through the base to the lower levels. You come across more. You come across more chambers throughout. You see more experimentation laboratories, doors that probably wouldn't be open otherwise, or would need access to, need bioscans or key cards to get through. Currently open. You can see the signs that there was experimentation going on in here, similar to other facilities you've been in, iron facilities you've been in. You see the signs of vats for breeding clones. You see signs of advanced weapons manufacturing. As you go down and down through the base, you can get more of an idea of what was being done here. Essentially building up an army, building up a counter movement to everything that you've seen I'm doing in the past in your lives at this point. Eventually, you all make it down to the final and the lowest level. Cerebellix, you do sense some sort of presence or some sort of entity beyond the door, some sort of life form. The rest of you see a locked door, heavily secured. Not heavily enough to probably stop Machina from ripping it off its hinges, but to any average person, a very heavily secured entrance to whatever might lie beyond.
Can I get anything from my scan? See, like level 70? Blood Elf Warlock.
Sir Felix, what's the rating say on the... I forget the line. I'm sorry.
It's over
9,000!
So you want to do a scan of him? Read me off the ability one more time.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, jeez. You scan an area, a cube, including all objects and creatures within the area. This says it must be within short range, but I have my goggles to make it more than that. Scanning a creature or object always reveals its level, a measure of how powerful, dangerous, or difficult it is. You learn whatever facts the GM feels are pertinent about the matter and energy in that area. For example, you might learn that a wooden box contains a device of metal and synth. You might learn that a glass cylinder is full of poisonous gas, and that its metal stand has an electrical field running through it. It's a lot of hypotheticals. However, this ability doesn't tell you what the information means. Scans like looks can be deceiving. A lot more hypotheticals about poison gas and things.
Okay.
And that there are energy fields that prevent or resist scanning.
You scan the entity in the other room, the one that you're sensing right now, that is giving off some sort of reading. As far as what you're scanning, you're getting, as you probably would have guessed, some sort of combination of living form and machinery. As far as the level, the difficulty, you're actually a little bit kind of caught off guard there for a second, because this entity is less powerful than the one that you faced before. On a scale of 1 to 10, or on the task difficulty scale, it's about a 5.
Interesting.
What is it?
Some human-machine amalgamation. I am reading less innate power than absolute zero. There are things that resist my scans, and they can be deceiving, judging a book by its cover.
Well, we gotta get through the door. Which, I mean, probably isn't gonna be a problem for someone. But we go in here thinking that it's him, and power level or not, if that is the leader of Frost, then we treat him as such.
Everyone ready to move in?
Try to take him alive. I have some questions.
I will definitely try to take him alive. As I said, last option.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
All right, let's do this.
Here we go. Leroy!
He just runs in.
As
Machina rips open the door.
As gently and daintily and carefully as I rip the door off its fucking hinges. Come on.
All right. You once more grab the center of the door. Your Goliath fingers punching through the metal. You grip and then rip the whole thing off, taking a bit of the wall with it, and throw it behind you. It crashes into the wall behind you, revealing beyond a dimly lit 30 by 30 foot room. You see dozens and dozens of computer panels across the far side of the room, each one displaying static right now, giving off kind of a green glow from the servos and the other electronics, all kind of on the walls. And in front of those, a chair, single black chair, sitting between all of the monitors, with what looks to be somebody sitting in it facing away from you. He says, "Well, you made it down here easier than I thought you would."
You gotta hire better henchmen.
"There was no one better than Zero. You must be very formidable yourselves."
Wait, if no one's better than Zero, does that mean your whole organization is in the negatives?
Clever.
Oh, burn. I say to him telepathically.
Do you know who it is you're working for, or why you're doing what you're doing here?
Now, see, the way you say that makes me think we don't, but you're also kind of an asshole, and so we have to stop you anyway.
Perhaps. I'm sure that Wonder and Ein have said a number of terrible things about me and my organization.
I mean, they didn't have to say anything. We've seen what you guys have been doing.
Have you seen what they have done?
I've done some of the things that they've done.
He reaches over, he kind of waves his hand, or you see a hand raise up from the chair and wave in front of him, and you watch as a few of the computer monitors light up. You see visions of or you see visuals of a war zone. You see dozens of soldiers coming in through city streets on Humvees and other military equipment. You see them taking civilians and throwing them to the ground. You see others firing shots as people scatter and flee. He says, "I'm sure you have." And you can see on the backs of the soldiers, or on their uniforms, you can see EIN, the signia of Ein, and easily identifiable as Ein military. He says, "But the things you have done as a soldier, only the tip of the iceberg. They have so much more control over you and all the small people on Earth than you could possibly understand. Their technologies," and he waves his hand to the right, and you see more monitors flickering, you see the images of the vats with the clones growing in them, these twisted soldiers that they've biologically engineered. You see food processing plants with chemicals labeled that are being added into the foods, alongside of what you would typically see, that's with the sugar and milk and other things going in. You see others marked with large X's also being added into this diluted mixtures. You see visuals of computers being taken apart and small sort of tracking devices or other devices being pulled from them. You see visuals of footage from the insides of people's homes as being seen from security systems, monitors that go about their daily lives. He says, "We were not the ones that created any of this. I have merely exploited it to show the people how vulnerable they are." We are merely igniting the kindling that has already existed. You would not be the first to turn to our side after seeing these images. I don't suppose you'd reconsider your positioning now.
Yeah, see, none of those are super definitive. I mean, we can't see who's on the other side of the conflict with the Iron soldiers. Maybe they're going to save the civilians. I mean, the food stuff, that's just GMOs. GMOs are the way of the future, man. And the home stuff, how do we know you didn't hack into someone's home security system yourself? You're gonna have to work on your powers of persuasion there, buddy.
At that point, he spins around in the chair, and you see the person sitting before you, a thin man with black hair kind of specked with gray. You can see clearly some visual signs of cybernetic enhancements across his face, bits and pieces of computer technology that seem to be formed in with his biological exterior. And he smiles and looking over at you, Accelerando, and he says, "I'll admit that persuasion was never one of my gifts. But nonetheless, the offer still stands. If you wish, you may join us. Most of you may."
Or
What do you mean, most?
Well, the machine can't speak for itself, can it? It's just another tool created by Ein to rule our lives.
are you referring to Machina?
Aren't you a
Doesn't the
tool
name.
created by Ein trying to rule our lives?
In the grander scheme of things, we're all tools for somebody, and that ain't never gonna change.
Well, we'll see what the people think once I turn all of these technologies against them, once I show them how much the science that they all hold so dear that Ein has used to rule their lives, how much it endangers them, and how much freedom it has taken from them. We will rid the worlds of these technologies and save our very souls as a result. But I can see that my words are not stirring you, will not move you to action against your masters. So I suppose that's all there is to be said. He stands from his chair. So, will it come to blows then, or will you simply let me leave?
I'm afraid we can't let you do that, Zeitgeist.
We were tasked with taking you in. No matter your reasons, you answer for the crimes you committed.
All right.
I'm a dog on a leash. Always have been.
Then let us get started, shall we? He snaps his fingers, and there's a distortion, and you watch as the room around you, this entire level, or the entire level of this facility suddenly disappears, vanishing. The door behind you, all the walls behind you, all vanishing. The semi-real holographic imagery fading away, all around you, revealing a massive expanse of the lowest level of this facility. He snaps his fingers again, and you see as the holographic imagery then projects a immense desert, stretching as far as you can see in all areas around you, rocks and mountains and clouds above you, all stirring in this roiling storm all around, feeling as real as the earth itself. And as you see all of this, you watch as the from the floor, kind of encircling you, chambers open up, and there 3 of the war droids that you fought all those months ago, stolen from the laboratories by Mr. Genocide, rise up from the ground, modified, looking different, pitch black metal, no more iron logos, seem to be more heavily outfitted with weaponry, all rise up, and Zeitgeist, still standing there, begins to draw a firearm from his side. And we will go ahead and roll for initiative.
Yeah, I get to remember that I have this danger sense thing this time.
Yay!
And because I have enough edge, that just happened, so difficulty of my initiative roll is reduced by 1 step.
Okay. The difficulty, for the sake of this, because it's multiple enemies, is going to be a 6.
Okay. So that's 5 for me. And I can't initiative today.
I
Okay.
somehow rolled the highest initiative. What the hell?
I rolled a 10.
I got
15.
I got a 12.
I also rolled a 10.
All right. So I think everyone failed. All right. So as the 3 war droids all rise up from the ground, they all hold out their arms in your direction, so transform into these sort of Gatling gun style lasers, and they just open fire on your group. Just I need everyone to make a speed defense roll.
Okay. What difficulty?
It is going to be a 6.
I rolled a natural 20.
Nice.
Ah, fuck.
Damn it. Rolled me an 11.
Natural 1.
Ooh,
Ooh, also a natural 20.
nice. All right. So Cerebellix Accelerando able to leap out of the way, actually ducking behind some of the rubble and rocks that have formed in the area, avoiding the laser fire. As far as Bakida and Sentinel, you both take 8 points of damage from the laser fire.
Reduced by armor, correct?
Yes, reduced by armor.
So with those natural 20s, do we get any effects from that?
We haven't been doing. We never really did the advanced the effects. I'll just do a general sort of your task difficulty of whatever you do next is reduced by 1.
Okay.
We'll just go with that, unless you have a major effect you'd like to use.
For me, it's you can take a second action this round. Would that maybe
Sure.
mean... Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have that too.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can definitely do those. So that will be the war droids' turns. As far as Zeitgeist goes, he is going to Yeah, for the sake of this, he kind of takes a step back, seeing the war droids attacking, and just kind of moves back from the fray, and is just going to take a pistol shot at Sarah Bellick, since you were able to avoid the strikes the first time. You look easier to hit. So I need you to make another speed defense roll.
It's because I am easier to hit. That's an 18.
You also avoid that. All right. And you kind of roll across the ground, the laser striking the ground there, and you avoid it. All right, that will end their turn. Whichever you wants to go first.
I'll go. So I keep getting shot at. Which I don't like. I guess the droids are the more immediate threat. I will use my action to do onslaught.
Okay.
And I guess because they're robots, I will do a force blast.
Okay.
Which I click. That's a natural 1.
All right. We got a couple of GM intrusions that are going to be coming off here. Let me figure out what I'm going to do. So that definitely misses. Man, I can't think of anything good for yours. I'll get back to that. I'll use that later if I need to. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put that one in the bank. So it definitely misses though.
Cool.
You get to take a second action though.
I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
Force blast. That's 15.
Yes, that'll work with your
My
reductions.
difficulty's difficulty 1. Okay, so that is 13 damage.
Nice.
Force damage.
I just realized I don't have pen and paper. All right. 14 force damage.
13.
13 force damage. All right.
Pew.
And who was to go next?
I have an idea for what to do. So, based on previous experience with these warbots and zipping around, can I see where I might get to their wiring, exposed or otherwise?
Okay. Yeah, I'll say. I mean, there are areas where you might be able to. I mean, they are war droids, so most of their wiring is armor plated and hidden. I will keep in mind that we'll go and have you make your attacks, and like targeting a specific area to try to expose some of that to take them down.
Yeah. Because what I'm thinking is I'm good at running and jumping, so run to one of the two she didn't get. Basically, this is what I'm trying to do, and I'm not sure what would be the best ways to go about this, but run to one, pull out wires, jump to the other one, pull out wires.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably going to be more of you're going to have to actually get a forceful strike in there to expose the wiring, and then potentially later turn.
So maybe just this turn with the 2 actions, make the attack, and then see what comes.
Yeah. Just make the first attack. We'll see how well you do, and then might get some bonuses off of that.
Okay. Difficulty 6 or
Yes. Yeah, 6 on
all
those.
right. That does not seem like it's gonna work. That was a 6.
Ooh, no, that will not. Yeah, so the first one, you come zipping up and you ding, try to hit off where you know some of the like kind of weaker metal is. You're not able to push through enough with it, with even your kind of kinetic acceleration.
Okay. I back off a little bit to come running back with more speed for another attempt.
Okay.
Oh, that's even worse.
Wow. All right. So with both of those, you come zipping around, trying to make the 2 strikes, but just not able to get a force behind them to make that impact. Hopefully, one of your companions here might be able to do that to expose the wiring, so you can get that in there next time.
With any other movement, which I should have a decent amount, I just run away to try and put distance. Or I'll move to be flanking.
Okay.
for all the good that will actually do.
We'll see. So who's next?
I'm gonna go and punch one of them.
All right.
Is it worth spending all the might again so I can... Yeah. I'm doing the heavy punch, spending all of the might from my pool again so I can get all the stuff taken off. So it's normally difficulty 6.
Yeah, so normally difficulty 6, and you spent might to reduce it by 3, so reduce it by 3. So you would have succeeded on that. So
doing my heavy punch.
okay.
So mod 1. Yeah, I think there's still a chance I could miss this. A very low chance, but I think, yeah. Roll 18, so that is 2 extra damage on it.
You do. So which one are you going for? One of the uninjured ones?
I'll start on one of the uninjured ones.
All right, for 20 points of damage.
22, because I've got the 18.
22 points of damage, yeah. So, all right, yeah. So you punch straight into the wardrobe, having such a hard time the first time you fought these creatures. This time, actually able to get that solid, heavy punch in there, which knocks the wardrobe back, kind of crushing it inward. This one definitely has some exposed wiring at this point, and is looking pretty rough. All right. And Lex brings it to Sentinel.
Cool. I'm going to focus on Zeitgeist.
Okay.
I am going to shoot him, of course. And I'm going to use my Pierce. So I'm going to use a speed point and then try to shoot him. And if it does hit, then he takes 1 extra damage.
All right.
Still difficulty 6?
Yeah.
Cool.
Or no, for him, difficulty 5.
Cool. Yeah. So rolled a 10, but with all of my specialize and mods, it drops that. So
Okay. So what's the damage?
9.
9 points of damage. All right. Down to. All right. You take the shot. Firing at him, the bullet strikes near. I mean, looks like an unarmored torso. Pierces through. Kind of staggers back a bit. Otherwise, doesn't really react too much to it. Just kind of remains like staring forward. Definitely takes damage though. All right.
Same thing with him now that I can see him with my ability thingy to find the flaw. Like, after seeing that hit, is there anything that I can see of him that is, like, outwardly...
He's easy to hit.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's very visible, not very well armored, not really carrying any weaponry. Seems pretty much just like a normal dude standing there.
Okay.
All right. That will put it back to them. At which point the war droids are all going to, some of them looking kind of like frazzled, and they go to fire. They're all going to fire again at all of you. So I need everyone to make a speed defense roll as the war droids start unloading with their lasers.
Did one turn around to get me on the other side?
Yeah, well, they can all attack 3 people. So they pretty much got all you covered.
I failed. Roll a 9.
That's a 2.
I rolled a 5.
I got an 18.
Okay.
All right.
2, power shift 3. I don't think that's going to do it.
No, because it was a 6. Oh, well, yeah, so it would have 4. Yeah, because you would have had, I mean, that's difficulty 0, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone takes the 8 points of damage, other than Machina, the Sentinel, who's able to avoid it. At which point, Machina, as you punch that robot and you have one sort of unload at you, you swat the Gatling gun away and kind of fires across the ground. You get a sort of a flash, like a warning in your sensors, and you just manage to look over as you see Zeitgeist staring at you, see the cybernetics on his face kind of lighting up. I need you to make an intellect defense.
Okay. Difficulty 6 again?
No, this is difficulty 8.
I don't think I can pass this.
Do you have any points you can spend for effort?
No, not with intellect.
Okay. So
yeah, I wouldn't be able to spend enough points in intellect to pass that anyway.
all right. Machina, at that point, as you bat that one away and you get the sensors come in, suddenly everything kind of goes dark for you, and there's this kind of you feel something kind of taking control of your systems. Your body is not your own. Suddenly Machina wheels around towards Sentinel. Machina, I need you to make so here's how PC versus PC combat works. For each step you'd have to reduce something, you're instead adding +3. So you're just going to roll and you're going to add +3 for each difficult step you would have reduced the task, and you're both going to roll against each other. So attack roll from Machina, defense roll from Sentinel.
Which attack, heavy or light?
Heavy attack.
Oh god. Is this a speed? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll it anyway because I'm like, there is that chance. Is it a might or
it's a speed defense roll.
Wait.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
It didn't
show up.
roll.
Oh, it says natural
Oh,
20
there
on
it
my
goes.
end.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Even still,
How?
so
No, wait.
you-
Tell the people at home what just happened.
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead.
So I rolled a natural 20 as well.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna say happens. So Machina still hits. So I'm gonna get the bonus because I think. Wait, who has more power shifts at this point? Because I think hard punch from Machina, you got the power shift of 1.
Strength for the damage and accuracy 1.
Okay.
So I've technically got 4 in all 4 of mine in this attack right now.
So I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Does my getting a nat 1 and having a major effect, if I have a major effect that I've like already picked, can I use it?
What's your major effect?
It is, oh god, I have to look at it now. Knockdown.
Which is
The foe is not prone, it can get up on its turn if it wishes.
okay. I'm gonna say you're not the one attacking because this,
Okay.
this is on a defense. The knockdown would typically apply an attack. What I'm gonna let you do is your major effect's gonna cancel out the extra damage from his major effect, though. But since he still wins that, you still take 20 points of damage, reduced by your armor.
So I was not expecting the roll to defend against that to be difficulty 8 at all.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Well,
but-
that's all of my might and some of my other.
Okay, so you are now injured,
Impaired.
impaired, which only affects if you're going to spend effort on things. And we'll get to that. But as that happens, Machina, you gain control of your systems again, and that will end all their turns back onto you guys.
Fuck that guy, I'm gonna go punch him.
So the one that just corrupted you, you're gonna go hit again?
Yeah, basically.
I
Well,
mean,
good.
if he can punch him and then knock him out, he won't get corrupted again.
Basically.
We hope.
And I mean, if it means he's far away from me, I'm okay with it.
All right, Machina, you go rushing up to make your punch.
Difficulty on punching him?
5.
5. I only have 2 strength left after doing this, but I don't care.
Okay.
So that is difficulty to roll the 17.
Ooh. So that's 21 points of damage.
21 points of damage.
All right.
No. Bam.
All right. So that is a lot of hit points on him. Trying to do math here. Okay, so you go boosh, 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 whoosh, boom, go slamming down straight onto him. As you strike, he is just like, I mean, punching a rag doll. Just the body comes up, gets pushed back. It lays still for a second, and then begins to get up. Jerky sort of movements, and you can see like broken bits around and scarring where and sort of blood or what looks like it might be blood kind of pouring out, and like broken bits of wiring and metal sort of peeking out from under the skin. And he's looking over at you still with this just intensity. But he's looking like this body is almost completely destroyed. All right.
Zeitgeist, you just
Yeah, I was
turned into
Zeitgeist.
Meatloaf?
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
I'll go. While Zeitgeist is still off kilter, I'm gonna run up from behind him and just try and clothesline him with the nightstick in the back of the head.
Okay.
And I'll put in. How do I use effort and edge for attacking?
Yeah, it's how many levels of effort do you have on your?
I have 2 effort,
Okay,
but 2
so
edge and speed.
if you have 2 effort, means you can do 2 levels of effort. For your first level, you spend 3 from the pool. From your second level, you spend 2, and then whatever the total is, if you're going to spend all 5, you can reduce that by your edge.
Okay, so use 3, put that into that roll. So it's saying roll effort and damage effort. Does that go into both, or do I have to pick?
I don't know. I don't know how the sheets work.
I'm just gonna do effort to lower difficulty.
Okay.
Or should I not mess with the sheet in that way? And we just know
I
I'm
just
putting
reduced it from my difficulty for how many I put in,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
the same sum, just easier to do.
Okay, so that it was 5. It's reduced down to 2 now.
Okay.
I'm still gonna mess this up somehow. Nope.
There you go.
I had to do that to get it down low enough. So that's a 6, which beats difficulty 2, which is what I reduced it to. So that's just 5 damage.
All right. So you come rushing over, zooming behind him, boom, whack him in the back of the head. It kind of king as it hits, and he kind of moves a little bit as he's standing up, but not as much as you would have hoped. And it definitely was not like hitting bone. And he does take a little bit of damage. You see a little bit of a dent in the back of his head, but he is still standing.
Yep, and I just run back out of range again.
All right, and then zip away. All right. Who's next?
I'll go.
Go for it.
Something is really wrong. Something about this is really wrong. I want to try to focus past the robots and try to mind slice Zeitgeist
Mind slice Zeitgeist.
and see if it works.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, go for your mind slice attack.
I don't think it's gonna work. Well, not with that attitude. Well, I rolled a 5, but which beats a 1. My difficulty's -5.
Okay.
Math, I don't know. I'm a very powerful superhero.
Interesting. Okay. So, and how much damage?
It does 11 and it ignores armor because it's zapping your brain.
Yeah, because attacks directly in the mind.
Yeah, it's like straight intellect.
Okay. So here's what happens in this moment. You send that mind slice out towards him, this pulse of energy. The mechanical, clearly partially mechanical form in front of you, which hasn't really reacted that much to all the damage, other than just getting like thrown across the area. It hits, and the entire room sort of flickers for a moment, and kind of, and all of the robots in the room, all the war droids, kind of lock onto you. And Zeitgeist in that moment looks straight at you and says, "Now, how did you do that?" And all the war droids begin to, all training on Cerebellix, begin to lock up or lock on her for an attack.
That's what I was afraid of.
Who still has a turn?
Just Sentinel.
Oh shit. Okay.
Just roll really good on your defense, Cerebellix.
Because there's no way, even if I take out one of them and then for some off-the-wall reason with my new ability can hit the second one and take that out, there's still one more left in him. But after seeing her attack him and him get really pissed off at it and everything like flicker and disappear, I'm just going to try to take him out.
Okay, that was a very good rehashing of what I just said.
Well, I had to go through it in my head to figure out.
Yeah.
Holy jeez.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Difficulty 5, right? For him.
For the body, yes.
Okay. See, the way you say that makes me worried. You've said that a few times now. Yeah, for the body. Okay, so let's try that. 15 beats difficulty 5, but then the 2 steps and everything. So 8 damage.
Okay. You aim over at the body of, or at the Zeitgeist. Aim, boosh, fire. The bullet hits center of the head, just as Accelerado goes zooming out from behind him. Boosh, blowing chunks of gore and matter all across the ground behind. The body goes doof, 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 falling to the kind of sandy holographic surfaces, this sort of card-light arena around you. The body falls unmoving at this point, seems totally dead. All of the war droids still.
I mean, I can, because I've taken him out, I can use my successive attack to immediately attack someone else.
You good?
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use 2 of my speed points. And the one that is more damaged, I'm going to try to take that one.
Okay.
So that's a 6. And because my bestest friend is in danger. Okay, so I have 3 effort, but I am hurt. So how does that work?
Being hurt increases the cost of effort by 1.
Okay.
For each level, I believe that you are going to use it. So, essentially, it would be 3 and 2. It's going to be 4 and 3.
Okay.
So if you're spending 1 level effort, it's going to be 4. For each additional level after that, it's 3. And then you can reduce that total cost by your edge.
Okay, so I have, because it's a might, I have 2 in edge.
Okay, you have 2 in edge, and
Yep.
what is your total effort, or how much effort are you spending?
I'll just do 1 for right now.
Okay, so it costs you 2 to be
Okay.
able to use it.
Cool. So
Reduce
that's
it
what
by
I'm
1.
Cool. And so I will reduce that back to the 5, and then I will try to shoot that one.
Okay.
Nope. That does not hit.
Okay.
Because I rolled a 4. So
Yeah. So you fire, it kind of deflects off the wardrobe as it's not even focusing on you. It's going for Cerebellix. And that will put it to the wardroid's turns. So I believe all of you took your turns at this point. I did see that Raven did spend for the minor healing. That will take effect on Cerebellix's turn.
Was it for me?
I believe so. Or who just did? Who did?
I'm bringing it up because my stream elements is being slow.
Okay. Well, whoever's affected it'll be on their turn, and it's not your turn right now. It's the wardroids. So the wardroid. How many times can I say that?
The wardroids.
Wardroids are going to fire on you, Cerebellix. So I need you to make some speed defense rolls.
Oh no.
3 of them to be precise. They're the same difficulty for each. They're just
11.
nope.
2.
Nope.
Natural 1.
Nope. All right. So that's 24 points of damage reduced by your armor 3 times.
3 times. My armor's 3.
Okay, so 24 points reduced by 9.
Which is a
15.
number. 15, thank you. Okay. My might and speed are gone.
Okay, so that puts you at debilitated. So you cannot take any action other than to move or crawl an immediate distance. And your speed is 0, so you can't move. So you are just kind of stuck on the ground.
Wait, so I can't take any action but to move, but I can't move?
If your speed is 0. So like if your intellect and might were 0,
I
you
understand.
won't be able to move. But your speed's 0, so you can't move. So there was a cloud of debris as 3 war droids just all unload onto Cerebellix, who's just not able to avoid it, has no cover there. And as she is just being laid into by these machines, you just see her sort of drop at that point. And you know that she's on the brink of death. At which point, all of the war droids stop firing and just kind of and the whole room goes quiet. All the holographs kind of fade away, leaving this just empty black space all around you. And there's this echo throughout the entire chamber. And you hear the voice of Zeitgeist again. And it's weird. It begins to echo from like comm panels around the room, and then also from the roar droids themselves in turn, all beginning to speak. And it just says, "I'm disappointed. You are very powerful. Perhaps in time, you can join me as well. If you make it out alive. Say hello to your masters for me." And there's this as the whole base begins to shudder.
I run, I grab Cerebellix, and I'm just out the door, headed back towards the ship.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's running.
All right.
Nearest point to jack into any computer.
All right. And Machina goes, while the rest of you are beginning to run out, Machina, you run over to a comm panel on the far side of the chamber and hack into that. What are you trying to do?
Slow down whatever time is on this.
Okay. So what would be the check for that? The using machines or the what was the one that you were using before?
Using machines, what I've been doing a lot of the time for this kind of thing.
That's fair. Okay. You make a check for that using any effort or whatever you wish.
This is actually I'm gonna duck out into my regular body first, just so I've got all my brain power, so I can spend.
Okay. You kind of eject out of the big body and landing on the ground. You look over and begin to hack into that.
Mm-hmm. I will spend 2 from the pool, from my intellect pool,
Gotcha.
or spend enough from the pool to reduce it by 2, rather.
Okay.
I should
So
say.
that's 5 total to reduce it by that amount.
Yep. Oh, not that one. So that's reduced it by 2. My servo reduces it by another 1, and in this body I also have the intelligence power shift, which will knock it down by another 1. So whatever the difficulty for this is, I reduce it by 4.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what the task difficulty is. I'm just going to have you roll it.
Do I notice
remember, I'm also trained in this as well.
Yeah.
So technically by 5 then.
By 5.
I rolled an 8, which beats a 2.
Okay. So here's what happens as we get this final scene here. Everyone is rushing out of the base. Machina, you're jacked into the comm panel. Sarah Belix, you are beginning to come to this healing coming through because you do get your D10 healing. I want you to go ahead and roll the D10 on that, see how much you get.
Do I notice Machina's huge, heavy form not lumbering behind or in front of me?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, he turns around.
Okay, you turn around.
He's not leaving without part of his crew.
Okay, so Sarah Belix, roll your D10.
8.
Okay, that's enough. You could distribute that to bring yourself back up to Hale, if you wished. Is there anything that you would like to do in this moment to try to assist with what's going on, Sarah Belix? Since you have the ability to know.
I notice her coming awake. I just briefly fill her in. Base about to go boom. We're getting away from the boom.
How far out are we?
From I would say there's a stairwell that was leading up out of the room that he's going to take you through. I mean, by his terms of speed, you could get back pretty quickly.
I say go back. Go back.
Okay. Turn around and take her back into the room.
All right, you zoom back. Sarah Belix, you see Machina and Sentinel there. Machina trying to mess with the community or mess with the panel.
I say... I tell Accelerando, get a message to the rest of Wonder that we're alive. And I 1, 2, 3, because I know he can run far enough away. Sentinel, and then Machina, and then myself. I put us all in stasis. Right before the blast goes off.
Okay. All right.
I just say, tell them we're alive! And then
Yeah.
I freeze all of us.
And Accelerando, what do you do?
Not really sure about it, but I assume she gives me enough of a look that I just run back towards the ship and, on the comms. Things about to blow. Rest of the team's gonna be okay, but big boom incoming.
Okay. So here's what happens. The Accelerando, you go rushing from the base. Machina, you're attempting to hack into the machine to slow down the clock, the timer on that. You are able to delay it by a few seconds, which is probably what Accelerando needed to get far enough away in that moment. Just as that apex hits and you look around, you see the center of this room just begins to glow this bright and red. It gets brighter and brighter until you sense in this uncanny sixth sense that you have, Cerebellix, that now's the moment, and you quickly put all three of you in stasis. You see or we see from the cinematic of this, Accelerando rushing away just as the facility behind you begins to buckle and then explode outward. You see the bits of debris, the rock and the rubble all collapsing around as Accelerando goes zooming across the open landscape, the tundra of this Arctic expanse. It is just breaking behind you, falling away, and you're running as fast as your feet can carry you away from this asteroid. As you come just to the edge of it, just as it's about to catch up to you, suddenly it breaks away and stops falling. And you stand there at the edge looking back to this massive hole, this probably 2 mile wide hole in the center of this Arctic landscape, with just debris and rock and rubble all crushing down below, knowing that your companions are in there.
As soon as the force field, or not force field, but the force of the explosion has died down enough, I'd turn around and run back in to try and get back to them and keep any rubble from falling on them.
And as you rush down towards the rubble, all trying to pull as what you can, there's suddenly a whoosh, a flash overhead, and you see as 2 helix jets come zooming down and then whoosh, hover above, and you see half a dozen individuals come leaping down into the rubble. One of them, with a flash of blinding gold, lands on the center of the debris and just whoosh, begins to start to hurl bits and pieces of debris around. You see the Golden Duke leading the charge, trying to pull as much of this away as possible. You see other heroes that you travel here with. You see Sunspot, this woman wreathed in flames, standing there and just melting away portions of the rock, just incinerating them as she tears through the debris. You see heroes, the fantastic axemen, also among there, helping to clear as much of the debris as possible. Not nearly at the same level of strength as the Golden Duke, but imposing nonetheless. And all of them, along with the other dozen or so heroes that you traveled here with, all pulling everything away. And we see in the as the camera pans, as Accelerando zooming around the site, trying to pull as much debris away, we zoom away from the asteroid and back and back and back until it all just fades into this beautiful, serene scape of the Kuiper Belt and all of the asteroids kind of gently drifting through space. Everything fades to black. And then as everything comes back, there's this flash of white, and we see Cerebellix and Sentinel in Ein facility hospital beds, recovering from their wounds, broken legs, broken arms, sustained from the serious impact of the debris around them. You see a small laptop computer with the words with Machina across the back of it, kind of sitting there on the pedestal next to them. Accelerando probably fidgeting in the corner somewhere. All of you recovering from the wounds that you sustained, having survived the blast. We cut forward again months later to an award ceremony being held. All of you receiving medals of honor from the chairman from Eternity, and from President Orlin Weber, the CEO of Ein and essentially the leader of the world, giving you your accommodations for bravery and for your heroic events. And Machina, in a shiny new robot body, I assume probably chrome plated or something, just ridiculous from your newfound heroic status, all of you. And this wonderful award ceremony, hundreds of thousands of people watching it, cheering at the destruction and the thwarting of Frost's plans. Of course, as the screen fades to black one more time, we come to the final scene of a dark alleyway in some crammed town. Skyscrapers jutting up in all directions all around you, bits of junk and debris, dirty, rusted, water dripping down from pipes that crisscross over the alleyways, rats scampering for bits of food around some dumpsters outside, probably some back alley restaurant. You hear the splashing of footsteps as a hooded figure walking through the alley stops and ducks into an alcove. She stands there for a moment, fiddling around with something in her pocket. She turns on a comm device. You see a ruby pendant hanging from around her neck. The familiar face of Wrath. She looks down at the comm device, and you see in sort of pixelated lettering the word Zeitgeist, and appearing in text underneath, begin second stage. And that's where we end our campaign. All right. Well, thus ends our first foray into the Cypher system and Wonderworld, everyone.
And thus ends my sanity. I think I just had a heart attack.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I'm dead.
I think I have to find the hidden stash of smokes I have and smoke the entire pack now. Thank you very much.
No, that's bad for you. Don't do that. Smoking is bad, kids. Don't smoke.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna drink until my liver collapses. Okay,
Don't do that either.
I'm
We're
gonna
not
do
setting a
both.
good example here.
No.
This is about heroes.
This is a family show.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
gonna drink
gonna-
a bunch of water.
We're gonna hydrate
I
and
mean,
have a healthy meal.
This is 32 ounces of water.
Yeah, look
It's a
how
lot
big
of
this
water.
cup is next to my head.
Yeah, but I think most cups are big next to your head.
I have a pretty big head.
But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. And I hope everyone here enjoyed your first journey into the Cypher system. I know I enjoyed running it. I have to say, I feel like I know it just about as well as I knew coming into it. It's an interesting system, and I really do like it. It's probably a little crunchier than we're used to, and a lot of numbers and talk and stuff. I don't know. I definitely want to continue the Wonderworld story at some point and continue this adventure. We may do it with a different system and try something a little more narrative based. But I enjoyed it, and I recommend it to anyone out there that would like to try it. You can find the handbooks and PDFs online. It was a lot of fun to run. It's great for this sort of thing, and especially if you don't like rolling a bunch of dice as a DM, definitely helps cut out on some of that.
You can also watch our other 4 episodes of this on the YouTubes, where we butcher the rules just as badly or probably worse than we did today, but it's a really fun attempt.
Yeah, we give it a solid effort, and I think we hit on all the important parts of it at least. But we will definitely, I really do mean it. I think at some point we will continue the story. I love this little kind of bringing a nice little bow on it. We'll come back maybe next year for another 6-part series or 5 or 6-part series for it. We'll see what happens there. But I appreciate everybody who watched it. feel free to go back and watch the other episodes. Please do. I encourage it if you liked this one. We had just as much fun in all of those as we did today. I'll just go ahead and run through our stuff really quickly. All of our credits are below. If you are interested in any who makes our overlays, where the music comes from, anything like that, it's all on the Twitch page. Go check that out if you're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, just scroll down, and it's all down there. Credit to all the people that contribute for all of this. Didn't have any character art for this. Maybe for the next season of Wonder World, we might have some made, but we will see. We have Survivors Complex on Saturday, Wild Space on Monday, where we'll be announcing our next dice giveaway, so check that out. And we will be starting our, in this time slot, starting just an hour later at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be starting our brand new Apocalypse World game 2 weeks from today, and that will run bi-weekly from that point out, and to an undefined time period at this time, but we're all excited to get started on that, the system that I feel a little more familiar with, and it should be a lot of fun there too. But I think that is it for announcements. Lynn's Day is tomorrow. Come watch Lindsay play Dragon Age Inquisition, and watch out for more video games throughout the week.
Thank you to our new followers that came and hung out with us today. We hope you had a good time.
Yeah, and to anyone that that purchased things in the chat, we did have the one healing bought from the store,
which may or may not have saved the entire team.
May or may not have saved the entire team. We will never know, but it was crucial. But yeah, more of that to follow. We love you and thank you all for watching this. And until next time, stay wonderful, Internet. Good night, Internet.